Hello, manga and anime lovers. I'm Branch, and today I'm talking about episode 3 of Mysterious Disappearances. So, this episode was the conclusion of the girls' high school arc, and I gotta say, it was pretty good. I think, like the first episode, the pacing was a little quick. Everything was resolved really fast once the confrontation got going, but everything that was in the episode had substance to it, and I really liked it. Especially the flashback for the teacher at the beginning. I don't remember most people's names. But the flashback for the teacher at the beginning really served to make you empathize with her character, even though she's really horrible in the present. You can see exactly where she came from, and it really brought back flashbacks in my mind from when I read the chapter because it is brutal. The absolute nonstop bullying this poor girl goes through all her life, and then she grows up to be a teacher and she resolves to never let anyone else experience that pain, but she pivots way too far in the other direction and winds up being the bully herself. Really, it's pretty tragic all the way around. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So probably what I liked most about this episode was Adashino's explanation of curiosities, as he calls them. He brought up this huge chart of mysteries that some famous philosopher, I can't remember his name, probably said. And I don't remember most of it, but I found it very interesting while I was listening to it and obviously reading the subtitles. And I especially like the explanation of the yokai in this chapter, I want to say, or in this arc. The Ushi-Oni especially. If anyone watching is a One Piece fan, then you know exactly why that sparked my interest. But also, the yokai, the Ushi-Oni, at least in this story, is based on, and of course I completely forgot the name, but I really liked it. I just really liked learning about all this Japanese folklore and how it all ties into the mystery at hand, and I don't know, it was just really good. Now on to the actual climax of the story. After all the build-up, they trick the teacher into thinking that Sumireko is getting bullied again. And I thought it was funny because they used the same toilet gag that they used in the first episode of this arc, which actually was kind of bullying when you think about it. So they trick the teacher, confront her, and it actually goes really badly. They almost get burned alive, and I thought that scene was surprisingly brutal. I did not expect this to be as bad looking as it was. Like in terms of like looking painful, not looking actually bad. It was one of the best sequences in the entire episode, even if the animation didn't quite hold up a lot of the time. The burns just looked so visceral on Adashino and Sumireko. They were really bad. They were like purple and black and blue. Ugh. It was painful to look at. It really lent a lot to the episode as a whole and built credence that this teacher was actually a pretty big threat. And so when Adashino takes care of her by what looks like reflecting her own curse back at her, I just found that really satisfying, and it shows a peek into what Adashino actually is. And something I noticed this episode is that Adashino and his sister Ulto, they do not have the exact same kind of eyes. Ulto has ringed eyes, but she has a clear pupil, whereas Adashino doesn't really have a pupil from what I can tell. If he does have one, it's really small. He just has basically these orange spiraling eyes that go into the center. So I think that might be a cause to think that the two siblings are actually not siblings after all. And especially when you see the flashback of Adashino and Ulto as kids in this war-torn landscape. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be the atomic bombing or some other natural disaster or not natural disaster that happened in whatever world these two came from. But my guess is that they're probably not actually related and they just found each other in this incredibly harsh environment. I think one downside to this episode is that the teacher was not as great of an antagonist as I thought she would be, especially from my memory of reading the manga, and that's simply because she doesn't really change at all. She still maintains this childish mindset from when she was a kid. In fact, I would say she's probably even more childish as an adult, and she acts like a little kid and she speaks like a kid, even though she's a teacher. Like when Adashino is trying to tell her that she's hurting people to stop bullying, she's physically hurting people to stop bullying, she doesn't listen. In fact, she doesn't even comprehend what he's saying. She just keeps saying that she wants to stop bullying over and over again. I don't know, I found that not quite as interesting, and then never goes anywhere from there. She's just instantly defeated by Adashino using his mysterious technique. If she's a recurring character, since she's still alive, she probably will be, and my guess is that she has not actually gotten rid of the Ushi-Oni curse, because she did bite the bracelet, so I'm guessing she bit off one of the beads and either swallowed it or has it in her mouth or on her person now, and so she's permanently an Ushi-Oni, kind of like Sumireko is permanently an aging character, which, by the way, Sumireko becoming a half curiosity herself plays another important role into this episode, or into this arc, I should say, as she is able to almost completely negate a lot of wounds by simply changing her age, which I guess makes some sense conceptually, because she is changing her appearance. She's basically shape-shifting, so any changes that are made to her in one form can be completely negated when she changes into another. I don't know if that applies to if she's hurt in her base form, her normal 28-year-old form. Probably not, I'm going to guess. But I thought that was pretty cool, and a neat way to have injuries matter, but not matter too much. Like, she's not going to have to spend 2 months in the hospital for those first-degree burns. Another thing I want to comment on is the ongoing fantastic comedy between Adashino and Sumireko, especially after the defeat of the Ushi-Oni woman, how she's taking care of him on her lap, her clothes all burnt up and all that, and all Adashino can say is that she looks like, I think it was a gacha, or a visual novel, or a gacha character after a battle or something, and I just thought that's very self-aware of the show to say. Some of the fan service is funny like that. Now, some of the other fan service is a bit distracting and a little bit annoying. It's getting progressively worse. Nothing too egregious yet, but I'm thinking it might get there, especially I managed to catch a glimpse of the preview for next episode, and it looks like a bath episode, which is always a wonderful time in anime. I'm just hoping it doesn't get any worse than whatever is going to happen next time, because the seriousness of the curses put against the fan service, the way Sumireko is put into positions to show fan service to the camera, I don't know, I don't really like it as much. But, that's neither here nor there. I have nothing else to say on the opening. Same thoughts as last week, or same thoughts as last episode. But the ending, it just keeps getting better. The song, it just gets better every time I listen to it. And I realized that the hands, in the shadow hands in the ending, are actual people hands. They're actually real life. I thought that was so cool. Whoever made the ending, they deserve an award. How we close off the episode, there are two things. First, before the credits, we see the quote-unquote bullies come to visit the teacher in the hospital, and I thought it was really nice how the anime did it, where they had Adashino's monologue over that, so it wasn't the main focus of the scene, because it's kind of cliche, but we still get it, so we can see at least the teacher probably learned something from this interaction, although I don't know, she's not very mentally mature, so we'll see if that changes her any. And then we see this mysterious wheelchair character, which at first I thought was a teacher, because she has the same hair, and maybe she still is, but she knocks on the door, and I swear the voice that answers is the teacher's. So I'm going to assume that until next episode says otherwise. We also have an after-credit scene where Adashino is reading Oto, one of Sumireko's books, and I thought this was really cool, because I did not realize it was not a Japanese folk story. Maybe it's based off one, but I thought we were going to have exposition on maybe next week's yokai. But no, Adashino is just reading Oto, one of Sumireko's stories. And you can see Oto gradually beginning to warm up to Sumireko. Last episode she did when Sumireko complimented her and believed her in the bathroom. In this episode, she's gaining respect for her craft as an author, which I think is really sweet because Sumireko deserves that respect, I think. Especially after all she's been through. Now she's getting new materials for her books. The art is getting a little worse every episode, I'm noticing. The animation is staying about the same, but the art's gradual decrease in quality is a little concerning. I hope it doesn't get any worse from here, because that might be like budget problems or production issues. Anyway, that's all I'm going to have to talk about this time, so hopefully I'll see you in the next review. If not, have a great day. Bye.